All right, thank you for attending the 2021 OVF Awards and annual meeting. Welcome to those of you who are watching on Zoom and those of you who actually came in person. This is wonderful. We're delighted you have taken the time from your busy day to be here. If you're attending via Zoom, please use the top right corner icon to change the view to side-by-side speaker for the best experience today. As a member-driven organization, OVF depends on your participation to fulfill our mission in fostering new and existing business ventures. We do this through the building of ecosystems that support entrepreneurial growth throughout Oklahoma. If you're a guest, welcome. If you find this awards ceremony informational, please consider becoming a member next session. As a member, you'll receive access to new venture pitch presentations from all over Oklahoma. You'll have access to speaker program rich with success stories, stories of learning, trial and error, exit stories, and of course, pitch presentations from new small businesses. OVF prides itself on making connections possible. So there's always an opportunity for a high impact networking. Give it some thought to become a member next session. In previous years, we've alternated the awards categories each year. We've found that some businesses who deserved recognition were falling through the cracks, whether it was because their benchmarks fell in an off year, or by the time the next award year rolled around, the company had been sold. We want to be able to highlight and recognize more Oklahoma talent, so we combine the categories into one awards event. The categories we will recognize today are Most Promising New Venture, Venture of the Year, and Award for Economic Impact. We will tell you more about the category qualification later in the program. Now, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, Sean Copeland. He's Oklahoma's 10th Secretary of Commerce and Workforce Development and the Chairman and CEO of Regent Bank. Sean, come on up.
Okay, so it just occurred to me that I am between you guys and the awards. So my speech just got a whole lot shorter, I promise. So what I thought I would do, let me take just a few moments to talk about what's going on within the state of Oklahoma. Jill, Melissa, and I have all worked very closely on a number of initiatives. And as I was sharing with Danny, in April, I handed over the Secretary of Commerce duties to Scott Mueller, and I now feel about 20 years younger. I have significantly more time, but I'm still on his advisory council. And so I got some updated information that I think would be of interest to our folks online and here in the room. So number one, Oklahoma is really kind of on fire at the current time. Our unemployment rate dropped from what was 13% last April to 4.2% today. We've added back about 300,000 jobs from last April until now. And at 4.2%, we're 13th in the country. And it makes me feel really good to know that our friends at Texas are at 6.9%. Our friends in California are at 8.3%. And our friends in New York are at 8.9%. So we're very proud of the governor and for our leadership for keeping Oklahoma open. As business people, it was so critical and allowed us to rebound, I think, much faster than other states around the country. We are seeing businesses and individuals move to the central part of the United States. So literally this morning in the Wall Street Journal, I was just reading an article where the 23% more people, if you compare this year to last, are moving both to the central US and are moving out of large metro cities into smaller and mid-market cities like Tulsa and Oklahoma City. I think these trends are going to do nothing but help Oklahoma continue to grow. Also, we obviously have great news as it relates to COVID. You know, our numbers, our cases are down 94% from their high. Almost 3 million doses have been given of our vaccine across the state of Oklahoma. So when you think about these trends, you factor in the fact that April was commerce's best month in 10 years in Oklahoma. 9 new companies announced that they are relocating to Oklahoma or expanding, including TAT Technologies, which is an Israeli-based aerospace company that's moving all of its thermal component activities to Tulsa from Israel. Big news. Carter Wind Turbines are adding 300 employees in Lawton. Farah Aerospace announced a huge expansion in Grove, and aviation, avionics, and instruments are moving from New York to Owasso. And that's just 4 of, so far this year, over 20 companies that have announced they're moving to Oklahoma. So we feel very good. We were laughing, Robert and I, Robert is with Skydweller, and we were laughing about the fact that they were kind of our singular good news story last year during COVID. You know, we were so happy that they made the decision to move to Oklahoma, but during COVID, these announcements were kind of few and far between. Now that things are beginning to come back economically, I think we're going to see a great year for Oklahoma. There's also been tremendous economic development legislation passed. Melissa and I were just talking about one that we worked on a lot together. It's Senate Bill 922, the Invest in Oklahoma Act. It was signed by the governor, and our goal was that we would use state dollars out of certain funds, and that those dollars would be invested into private equity in Oklahoma businesses. And so thanks to her and hours of discussions, basically this bill encourages our state funds to invest in private entities here in Oklahoma. So we're hopeful that investment funds in Oklahoma will now reach out to our public entities, and will begin, rather than, most of them have a section of their investment that is made up of private equity anyway. And so we just want it to be invested right here in our businesses right here in Oklahoma. You had House Bill 2860 was the Oklahoma Remote Quality Jobs Incentive Act. And this basically took, so Tulsa has a program that many of you probably have heard of called Tulsa Remote, where they basically have brought in hundreds of remote workers, paid them $10,000 plus a housing stipend to get them to relocate to Oklahoma. This bill basically takes that program and makes it statewide. And it helps, it provides incentives for other communities to build a program similar to Tulsa Remote. Tons of film production companies are coming to Oklahoma. I was actually out at Post Oak Lodge, north of Tulsa, at a planning session for the bank. And there happened to be one of our companies that we'd recruited to Oklahoma was filming a Hallmark movie at the same time that we were out there for our strategic planning session. And if you guys will watch for the Christmas Love Tree in July on Hallmark, I'm telling you, I play a pivotal role in this very, very important movie. We have had upwards of 30 production companies either considering or making a decision to relocate to Oklahoma. And so, you know, we have Killers of the Flower Moon, which is being filmed near Pawhuska. And I think we're going to just see more and more. So I just feel like there's a momentum coming out of COVID that we're going to continue to see in this state of Oklahoma, which should help all of us as entrepreneurs be more and more successful. One of the things that I learned in my role as Secretary of Commerce is that Oklahoma can compete with anybody. We were laughing about the Tesla experience where we went head to head with 14 cities and we got down to 2 between us and Austin. And we learned so much going through that experience. One is we learned that if you want to get somebody's attention, you want to paint a 100-foot tall golden driller with their face. That is one thing we learned. We learned that when it comes to location, workforce, cost of doing business, incentives, we take a back seat to nobody. I mean, there is nothing that another state can provide that we cannot do here in Oklahoma. So wins are great. And we were able to bring in about 120 businesses over the last couple of years, and they brought in about 20 this year, but nothing adds to the economy like growing an existing business in Oklahoma. Nothing. mean, if we look at our portfolio of companies, we have 40 operating companies in the bank, all within the state of Oklahoma. And so we added a little over 1,100 jobs over the last 5 years. If you put that into a press release, and it would make the front page of any newspaper. And so what we know is, and I want you to think about this for just a moment. This morning it hit me of all of the companies that started in Oklahoma that are really significant. Okay, so listen to this list: Quick Trip, Bank of Oklahoma, Paycom, Heartland, Sonic, Loves, Atwoods, Devon, Aon, Continental, Webco, WPX, Chesapeake, MidFirst, Express, Unit, Bama, Sampson Resources, Senior Star Living, Mazzios, could go on and on, Sandridge, Williams, Dollar Thrifty, Brahms, Hobby Lobby, Matrix, Helmerich and Payne. You get the picture. I have 4 more lines here, but I won't bore you with reading all of them. Oklahoma is truly a state of innovation. I think a lot of times we focus so heavily on recruiting from outside that sometimes we forget that the biggest companies that we have, the most successful companies that we have grown right here. They started right here, and they have grown right here. So what I want to close with today is just sharing the one best lesson that anyone has ever given me as it relates to being an entrepreneur. Because the hardest thing whenever you are trying to build something and grow something from scratch is to keep the right mindset, right? I mean, doubt creeps in, challenges hit you. You see the downside and the potential challenges of taking the risk and jumping out there. And I want to just share a couple of quick stories that I think really honestly changed my life. So I grew up on a farm in Beggs, Oklahoma. If any of you are familiar with the metropolis of Beggs, it's about 1,000 people. It was 1,000 people when I lived there. I think, somebody dies, a baby's born, and it's kind of equalized. It's still 1,000 people today. I grew up about 20 miles south of Tulsa, and my father and my grandfather were Hereford cow-calf operators. So we raised Hereford cattle. I went to school at Oklahoma State, graduated in the fall of 1995. Well, in the spring of 1995, I was helping my dad work cattle there on the farm. I was the junior member of the duo, so I had the back of the animal. My dad was the senior member. So as we were working cattle, my dad yells over all of the noise and the cattle bawling and everything, and he basically says it just like this. He says, hey son, I've been needing to tell you, you need to go get a job. And I said, what? I said, what are you talking about? I need to go get a job. And he said, no, really, you need to get a job. And in essence, I learned that we were having a tough time financially on the farm at the time, and that I needed to go get other employment. There wasn't room for me on the Copeland farm in Beggs, Oklahoma. So we finish up our work. I drive about an hour and a half back to Stillwater, and the whole way driving back, I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I mean, how in the world? I mean, I have no experience. I have no contacts. I mean, I've always thought that I was going to go back and work on the ranch. And so it just so happens that on Tuesday, so this was Sunday, on Tuesday, I had been invited to a dinner there at the OSU Student Union Ballroom by Dr. Jim Halligan, who was our president at the time. And it was a Board of Regents dinner. I had been in student leadership there at OSU. And so he invited me to attend this dinner. And it was just like this. We had round tables. I think there was 7 of us at a table, me, Dr. Halligan, and 5 members of the Board of Regents. And I was super nervous. And I know Dr. Halligan sensed that, and I wasn't really talking. So to make conversation, he says, Sean, I've never asked you this. And in fact, the truth is, he actually called me Mr. Beggs. I now know it's because he didn't really know my real name. And he just remembered that I was from Beggs, Oklahoma. So he said, Mr. Beggs, I've been meaning to ask you, what are you going to do whenever you graduate from college? Well, I don't know, right? I mean, I had just learned that I wasn't going back to the ranch, and I thought, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. I don't want to, I can't tell these people that I don't know what I'm going to do. I only have one semester to go. I got to come up with something. Now, what I should have done was just been honest and said, well, here's what happened. I thought I was going back, going back to the ranch. I didn't do that. So I am sitting there going, oh my goodness, what am I gonna say? And I look to my left, and this guy sitting next to me has a nameplate that says Bruce Benbrook, Chairman, Stock Exchange Bank, Woodward, Oklahoma. So I thought, well, that sounds good. I'm just gonna say banking. And this is a true story. I wish it wasn't, but it is a true story. So I'm like, oh, I'll just say that. So I said, well, I said, I've actually been thinking about going into banking. And everybody around the table was like, what? We didn't know you were going into banking. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, it's a very recent career decision. And it was very recent career decision. So they started asking me all these questions about banking. Well, what kind of bank? What position are you going to go into? Well, I don't know. I don't know any of these things. So I'm like, well, what position? I had to get a loan from my pickup. So I said, well, I think I'm going to be a loan officer. So that assuaged them a little bit. And they said, well, what kind of bank? And I said, well, a small community bank. That was really the only kind of bank that I knew. And so I make it through dinner. I bluff my way through dinner, and I'm walking out of the room. Dr. Halligan is walking beside me, and he says, Sean, I didn't realize that you wanted to go into banking. He said, I've got a good friend that owns some banks down in Oklahoma City. Maybe I can help you get an internship. And he could have said, I have a group of friends that own garbage can cleaning companies. I mean, it didn't matter. I was going to say yes. I'm so desperate. I need any job. Anything will help at this point. So I said, I would love that. Well, his friend turned out to be Jeff Records, who owns MidFirst Bank here in town. He made a phone call on my behalf. Mr. Records hired me to be a summer intern, and the rest is history. Two years later, I am hired by a crazy family as president of their bank when I'm 24 years old. I've been president of a bank ever since, had the blessing of putting a group together and buying Regent Bank when I was 34, and here we are today. So the lesson is we can all help somebody, right? I mean, we've all been put in situations where maybe it's a word of encouragement, maybe it's a connection, maybe it is resources that we can provide. But Dr. Halligan changed my life that day when he listened to the problem that I had. He thought about how he could help me, and he took the step forward and literally changed my life forever. So the message that I would leave with all of us is that whether we were just getting started in business as entrepreneurs, whether we've been in business a while, whether we're in government, wherever we are, there's somebody out there that needs our help. There's somebody out there that if we'll just listen, if we'll just take interest in them and take the step, we can change their life as well. So I appreciate being with you today, and let's get on to the awards. Thank you.
We're going to give you an award as well. Right over here, we're going to take your picture. I think this is a good backdrop, right? Is that what we're doing? Here we go. It is very heavy. Okay, next, I would like to recognize the Awards Selection Committee. If you're here, please stand and be recognized and hold your applause until the end, if you don't mind. Myself, Henry Dumas, Gary Derrick, Gary Rosenhammer, and Brad Rickelman. Thank you all. That committee is actually really fun. I do enjoy that one a lot. Now we'll begin the 2021 awards ceremony. We had many very talented applicants and nominations, as we do every year, and I'm excited to see who wins. It's going to be cool. I would like to introduce the most promising new venture recognition sponsor, the Oklahoma Business Incubator Association, and I welcome to the stage Brad Rickelman, the treasurer of the OKBIA. Take it away, sir.
It's been the privilege of the Oklahoma Business Incubator Association to serve entrepreneurs and support Oklahoma businesses for the last 20 years. Our mission is to support incubators, accelerators, and co-working spaces. And really, we have one mission: to advance and produce successful businesses in the state. I'd like to begin by giving the qualifications for the Most Promising New Venture Award. And so nominees first must have begun development or have development of their product or services within the past few years. And second, they must demonstrate the viability of the primary product and service, either through capital raises and grants, sales revenue, or potential economic impact. So it's most promising in the sense of looking to the future for that. And this year, the finalists for the 2021 Most Promising New Venture are Respond Flow from Tulsa, an SMS messaging service, which allows users to leverage local 10-digit numbers to schedule and send personalized messages to customers and prospects while maintaining a personal touch. Watkins Conti Products of Edmond, a platform women's healthcare company developing affordable and effective solutions for taboo issues faced by women, specifically with regard to pelvic health. And Drove Technologies out of Oklahoma City, utilizing their years of experience related to tire inflation systems, and have pivoted from a company doing that to a technology company seeking to provide a full smart truck and trailer solution for the trucking industry. And so with that, we'll go ahead and announce the second place finalist. Congratulations to the second place finalist, Respond Flow. And I believe we have Martin Bien via Zoom, correct?
Yes. Hi there. Currently calling in from my basement in Norway. There's very few things that's more humbling than that. But first and foremost, I want to thank the OVF and selection committee for the honor of being named as even one of the most promising ventures in Oklahoma, especially after seeing the incredible companies that we got nominated with. It's kind of crazy to think that less than 12 months ago, I was still living with three of my co-founders, Austin Graham, Matt Morf, Peter Daggett, in a house in OKC, building and growing Respond Flow at nights and weekends, while all of us still had full-time jobs. I'm glad that everybody kept reminding us that these days would be looked back on as the glory days, because even already, that is exactly how it feels. But none of this would have been possible without our financial partners, Atento Capital and Cortado Ventures, who took the risks in betting on us and Respond Flow. We also have to thank our incredible teams. And there's absolutely no way that we would be here today if it wasn't for the amazing team members that I guess we can also call co-owners. And of course, that they took the risk to come work for us as an early stage startup, many of which moving from out of state and even out of country to Tulsa at our headquarters. We're honored to be a part of this new renaissance in tech and startup that is in Oklahoma, and we're extremely excited for what comes next. So thanks again. We are very honored. So thank you so much.
All right. And so to receive the award, could we have Austin Graham? Are you here? Please come on up and receive the award. Okay. Now, sometimes, although rarely, we have two companies, both equally qualified for the same award. And the committee felt this year it would be to the disadvantage of both to not give them both the award. And so this year, we have two 2021 most promising new ventures, Drove Technologies and Watkins Conti. So each is going to come up and say a few words and tell us about their company and accept the award. And so, Allison, you get to come first. Yay.
Oh my gosh, I was so nervous because I saw the other companies and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just honored to even be considered, with these people. So these amazing companies. So thank you guys so much. I was thinking about the first time that I ever was involved with OVF, and Shay asked me, she said, do you think maybe you might want to present at one of our luncheons? And Shay, I've got to say, I recognize the risk that you took there. We're talking about urine leakage and a vaginal insert. And so for that, I very much appreciate you taking that risk and seeing the big vision. And as a result of that one time I came, I've done so many wonderful things with the members of OVF. I've, done business with several of the companies and also had some mentorship. I have to mention my conversation with the late Mr. Farha, who's no longer with us, but he was so incredible. He took me in his fancy Cadillac and was telling me about diversification and a great story that involves salad dressing and croutons. If y'all have never heard it, it's fantastic, I'll tell you. But also he pulled out all of his patents around the world and showed me, and it really helped to broaden sort of my plan for my company moving forward. And so OVF in many different facets has been a tremendous contribution to my company. So thank you so much for this. As we all know, companies are not built by just one person. I mean, I have to thank my incredible team, the Francis Tuttle Business Innovation Center. Jennifer and Kristen, thanks for coming. I'm so proud to office out there. We're building a new facility. I say we. Francis Tuttle is building a new facility. I encourage everybody to come out in August. It's incredible. It's going to have an entrepreneurship school for our youth. And the goal there is, of course, to broaden the parameters that are set in the education system and help our kids start developing their critical thinking skills. And that's where innovation comes from. And so I'm super excited to be a part of it and so thankful. Of course, want to thank my board members. Jenny Martell is tuning in from New Jersey. She is the chief of global brand protection for Colgate-Palmolive. She's our newest board member. And as you can imagine, she's so busy. So thank you, Jenny, for taking the time to zoom in. Of course, we had an outpouring of letters of support, and I'm so thankful for everybody that nominated us and wrote letters on our behalf. And of course, my kiddos, they're not going to hear this, but I'm a single mom, COVID, trying to teach my daughter how to read, and she's sitting in my lap in business meetings, and I have to say they're the real MVPs. My son turns on the coffee for me every morning. He's 12. He's awesome. My daughter tells me what not to wear. She's fantastic. And of course, finally, my dad, who's here. He came all the way from Amarillo. He drove this morning. He's going to drive back tonight. He has been here for me from day one, taught me about entrepreneurship, whether I wanted to hear about it or not at the dinner table. But, he's been here for me, whether I'm in college singing in front of a bunch of random people or giving birth or closing on a house or accepting an award. So thank you, Dad. And thanks to all of our investors as well and everybody that's supported our company. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, and congratulations. And now we have Lisa Mullen, CEO of Drove Technologies, with here via Zoom. Sorry, we have another Zoom.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yay!
Success. Well, I'd like to start by saying thank you for the nomination and for the award. We are incredibly excited at Drove and would also like to say congratulations to the other two companies. that were nominated and awarded. It's incredibly exciting to see so much innovation happening in Oklahoma. I would like to thank those in the Oklahoma community that have been along for the ride with us. It's certainly been a journey, but we are incredibly excited about the opportunity that's in front of us. And we have a real opportunity to grow a technology company in Oklahoma. And we're bringing people to the state. We'll continue to do that. And we've got a great growing network of partners here in Oklahoma, as well as across the nation. So thank you for the acknowledgement, and we're excited to continue to grow our business here in Oklahoma.
Super. And is there a representative here from Grove to receive the, all right, then that's fine. So thank you all, and congratulations to both of our winners and finalists. And it's been a pleasure for Oklahoma Business Incubator Association to support the OVF Awards. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. All right, thank you, Oklahoma Business Incubator Association. Thanks, Brad, for doing that. And congratulations to our award recipients. Next, I would like to bring up Gary Rosenhammer with Insurica. They are the Venture of the Year recognition sponsors. Gary, if you won't mind coming on up here. You don't have a choice. Yeah.
Thank you, Danny. Brad, I should get you to speak for me. You have a great speaker voice. As Danny said, I'm Gary Rosenhammer. Our firm's Insurica. Our relationship with OVF dates back to, did some research on this. Our CEO of our parent company, American Fidelity, was original founder of this group in 1987. So it's been around that long, and I'm very pleased to be associated with it still. I've served as chairman, still serve on the board of directors, part of the selection committee for the award ceremony. And I was telling Sean, I was kind of embarrassed to admit it, but I've been in the business for 50 years now. And I still, as a part of the selection committee, you go around and you interview the applicants for the different awards. And by the way, no one's mentioned it, but we normally have 20 to 30 applicants, and to boil that down into 2 winners, Venture of the Year and Most Promising Venture of the Year, it's quite a process. And I'm always amazed that the talent and the expertise and the innovative individuals, employers we have in Oklahoma. Glad you mentioned, Sean, some of the great companies that started here in Oklahoma, but it's amazing what you find out just going to these small towns and visiting with somebody that started a company that you didn't even know the industry existed, yet they're making a living at it. So I'm intrigued and impressed and honored to be part of this still. But OVF, I think Danny mentioned a little bit about it, but it provides a unique venue for entrepreneurs throughout Oklahoma to have direct access to venture capital and executive tutorship. Like I say, I've been a part of it for longer than I can remember, but I'm very proud to be part of the dynamic organization still. My charge was to select, find, and interview the Venture of the Year award. Some of the qualifications that were part of that is each company would have had to have launched its primary productive service within the past 10 years, has generated sales revenue of $1 million or more in the last fiscal year, and shown material economic impact or innovation within the marketplace to affect the entire United States, in fact. So we boiled down I think we had 8 candidates for the Venture of the Year, boiled them down to 2. We have two finalists. Skydweller Aero of Oklahoma is a U.S. aerospace company developing solar-powered aircraft solutions capable of achieving perpetual flight and unprecedented payload activity. The other finalist was Happily of Oklahoma, provides people with suggestions for great date nights at home. And also, in addition, they have added products such as premium experiences and classes with industry-leading experts. This was particularly useful, I'm guessing, throughout the COVID, when many times people spent weekends at home and days at home. But Proud to announce the two finalists and the two winners. Congratulations to the second place finalist, Venture of the Year, Happily. I think we have Brent Kolamichik, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but he's the founder, and he should join us with Zoom. Brett, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Can you all hear me okay?
And
Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate the nomination for this award. It's an honor to be a finalist in this conversation with the team at Sky Dweller. I first want to thank OVF and Shay, your team there, for such a great event and all the work that you guys continue to do, building the ecosystem for startups and small businesses here in Oklahoma. Our number one core value at Happily is relationships matter, which is fitting based upon what our company does, but it's also, I think, fitting for this event. When we moved the company here in 2017, it was 3 of us co-founders, and our team has since grown to 65 employees plus since moving here. And I think what OVF does is really a microcosm of Oklahoma City and the state of Oklahoma as a whole, which is we're really good at building relationships here. And so it's a fitting place for our company to be. The people in this room, the investors in the state of Oklahoma, the ecosystem of service providers and network here is just really second to none, in my opinion, in terms of an environment and a place to build a new company. And so I want to thank everybody in this room that's a part of that. Specifically, I want to thank our team at Happily. We have an incredible, hardworking team that takes a high level of ownership, works day in and day out to make Happily what it is, in accomplishing our mission to create moments for couples to connect. I want to thank also the folks at I2E. You guys have been incredibly supportive for us. John, Stacy, Scott, Mark, Cindy, whether it's helping us close a new round of funding, mentorship, service provider introductions, helping us hire, whatever that's been. It's been a joy to work with you guys as well. It's been an especially satisfying year for us this year. As was mentioned during COVID-19, our product and helping couples continue to connect even while being at home was perfect. So it's been a joy to be able to do that this year in the midst of everything going on. It's made life a little bit abnormal. So the fulfillment found in our work this year through our date box product was especially gratifying, and it's an honor to be nominated for this award in light of that. So thanks so much for the nomination. I guess I'll spoil not really the surprise anymore, and I'll be the first to congratulate Robert and his team at Sky Dweller as well. I felt a little bit like Allison felt when I saw the finalists for this award. I'm like, man, how do we compare for Venture of the Year with somebody building unmanned solar power aircraft? So incredible what you guys are doing too. And congratulations on the award. It's an honor to have been nominated and be a finalist. So thanks to everybody involved with this award.
thank you, Brett. Congratulations. I think if we had had our wives vote, we might have been a closer battle. But honored, pleasure to introduce the new 2021 Venture of the Year award winner, Sky Dweller, Robert Miller. Please, co-founder, Sky Dweller, join us on stage. Congratulations. He's gonna...
Brett, thank you for those kind words. For those of us who, don't really know much about it, that we're trying to build a solar powered aircraft that flies for 30, 60, 90 days. And we think by developing this, we're going to solve some of the world's most pressing problems in telecommunications and defense. And you think about Sky Dwellers trying to do something that nobody has done before. And some of the largest companies in the world have failed at it. Facebook, Google, they failed. And so far we're making good progress. We're very optimistic we're going to get there, and that it's going to be something very special. Last June we selected Oklahoma City as our global headquarters, and it's really due to the thriving aerospace and defense industry here, the business-friendly environment too, and the great leadership we have here, both at the state and federal level here in Oklahoma, and especially Sean. You and the governor were amazing in helping us make that decision. And looking around the room today, it's crystal clear that we made an excellent decision to locate in Oklahoma. Choosing Oklahoma, for me, it's coming home. Okay. First 18 years of my life were spent in Norman. And we're very honored to be recognized here as the Oklahoma Venture Forum as this year's finalist and winner. Okay. When we founded the company in 2018, my partner, John Parks, and I took a great leap of faith, as many other entrepreneurs have attempted and unfortunately, have gone after. After decades of experience in this field, we believe that this undertaking is not only, but it's very critical to our national defense. That having this ability to fly for 30, 60, 90 days is going to change the way government surveillance is done. If we, I really want to thank everybody here, that this is quite an honor, especially among our impressive peers and finalists. Datebox, Response Flow, Watkins County Products, Drove Technologies. It's really, an honor to be associated with this group of people. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Shay for putting forth this fantastic ceremony together, and Shurika for sponsoring the Venture Award of the Year, and Sean for you delivering your. It makes it hard to follow you, So I just want to say that Oklahoma is a great place to do business and a great community. And we, there's a saying that the Spanish have, it's their national saying, it's called plus ultra, further beyond. And I really think that that is about entrepreneurship here in Oklahoma and how we're going to go further beyond. And we're going to do that in the spirit of Wiley Post. So, okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you and congratulations to both companies. Thanks, Gary, for sponsoring that and being a part of that committee. Since 1987, Oklahoma Venture Forum has fostered growth within our community and supported both new and existing business. Each year, OVF honors businesses in a variety of ways, and the OVF Chairman's Award for Economic Impact is no different. The 2021 OVF Economic Impact Award goes to PPP.Bank, an organization that is focused on Oklahoma small business success. For those who aren't familiar, PPP.Bank is a free, secure resource for small businesses, nonprofits, and sole proprietors across the United States who received a Paycheck Protection Program loan and are now applying for forgiveness. This website automates the 11-page forgiveness application and results in a PDF that can be then sent to the lender. Please join me in honoring Jill Castilla, who's going to receive the award on behalf of PPP.Bank.
Thank you so much. This was such a surprise for us to receive, and we're so grateful for OVF and Shay and what you all have done here in Oklahoma to propel our economy forward. It's an honor here today to represent this collaborative effort to help America's small businesses. About a year ago from today, I received an email from Mark Cuban. We had partnered on a previous effort to help in the PPP process, just getting information out to small businesses. But I received an email from Mark, and he just said the PPP forgiveness application just came out. We'd already kind of both been complaining about it on social media. But he said, these small businesses, this 11-page application is going to be too much. We had worked through thousands of small businesses that were confused by the original PPP application, and the forgiveness program was even more sophisticated, and we knew it was going to really be a challenge. Millions of small businesses have processed their PPP loans through the fintech community, which really stepped up and were wonderful to get the funds out there. But they had not put into place, because they were the intermediary, anything to help with forgiveness. And so Mark just challenged me. He said, we got to do something. And so I just responded with 2 words. I just said, on it. And I made a call to my friends at Tesla Software, who are online via Zoom, a company in Little Rock, Arkansas, who I knew their heart during PPP. They offered their software free of charge to community banks throughout the nation to process paycheck protection loans. They jumped at the opportunity to provide free programming to put a website together and provide a guided application to a small business that could easily go through this guided application and have a PDF and an attachment of what all they need to include for their lender to be able to get forgiveness. So small businesses wouldn't be stuck with a loan in a time in which their cash flow was constricted. At the same time, we wanted someplace for this to be secure, and ppp.bank was born. The FTLD registry donated the .bank URL, which usually takes months for banks to get. It's a site that's secure and only banks can get this site, and they donated that to us. And in just 10 days, we were able to launch ppp.bank and get this application out to small businesses and diffuse a lot of anxiety that happened out there. We had some rules at the beginning. We weren't going to sell any data. We weren't going to retain any data. We're not going to take advantage through any kind of marketing efforts with these small businesses. We could have made hundreds of millions of dollars selling this information to the community we got offered. That type of money. Within just a couple of weeks, 250,000 businesses throughout America use this product. Again, Citizens Bank of Edmond, we had our own, we had contracted with Tesla and had our own software. This was just a gift out to America's small businesses. Mark Cuban stepped up and provided us the funds to support the website. And again, this was just such an incredible effort. It was beautiful. 10 days from that first email to launch of a website. This has again resulted in everyone seeing a business's heart. Sean talked about the need to kind of be there for one another. But when you know what type of business you are, who's going to step up, who's going to go after that dollar versus who's going to really serve, and finding your people out there. And once we were able to do that, it resulted in unimaginable partnerships that benefited millions of small businesses around our country to get access to needed funds during the COVID disaster. So we greatly appreciate all the work. I've got to give a special shout out to Citizens Bank of Edmond, who let me kind of go off script and do something that wasn't going to economically benefit the bank, but it was the right thing to do for our country. Really proud to have representation of our team here. Tesla, I think Joe and Colin are out on Zoom. You guys are amazing. You have my heart. You tell me what to do. I'm going to run through a wall for you. And then Mark Cuban, it was such a lesson. I exchanged hundreds of emails and private messages on Twitter and via Twitter with Mark. I had never worked with anyone other than Mark Cuban on this project. To see how you can be so successful and be a billionaire and have all your resources kind of time stretched beyond something imaginable, but to be answering hundreds of emails and trying to help people, to being accessible on social media, to provide challenges to companies to really step up. It really made me rethink about how the level of accessibility I need to have as a leader. So it's a great lesson for all. Again, thank you so much for this recognition. Go out and do a lot of good out for our community. I hope that this is a testimony for what kind of impact you can make when we really can work together.
Okay, congratulations, Jill. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the 2021-2022 OVF Chairman-elect, Henry Dumas. Henry checks all the blocks as a professional. He has many certifications. He's a CPA. He's got a bachelor's degree. He's a certified master coach, just to name a few. He also has played several significant key roles in some large businesses. But the thing I want to tell you about Henry is if you've ever met him, his approach and his attitude. If you ever sit with Henry, you just get that feeling. He drops your guard and he just essentially, he gets right to the point and you figure stuff out. So Henry's awesome. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what you do with 2021, 2022 OVF. And come on up here, new chairman, and you're going to run our annual meeting too.
All right. Thank you, Danny. All right. So thank you, Danny, and welcome to the 2021 OVF annual meeting. This is the last meeting of this session. The first thing I'd like to do is to recognize our current board of directors. So if you'll please stand as I call your name and remain standing. And if you'll hold your applause until I've listed all. The executive committee, you thought you were going to sit down, Danny. Chairman, Danny Sustarczyk. Standards IT, Chairman-elect Henry Dumas, Moore Norman Technology Center, standing. Treasurer Jim Simons. EKD, CPA, and advisors. Secretary Gary Derrick, Derrick and Briggs LLP. Immediate past chairman Kyle Golding, the Golding Group. Alice France, Churchill Consulting Group. Kit Letcher, BBB of Central Oklahoma. The board of directors, Ryan Cargill, I2E Inc. Jim Denton, Arledge and Associates. Andrew Pollock, OU Office of Technology Development. Thomas Vaught, Victory Real Estate. Aaron Webster, Cameron Ventures. Daniel Will, OSU Research Foundation. Past Chairman Ryan Butts, Chestnut Street Advisor. Steve Davis, Insperity. Cindy Friedman, Metro Technology Centers. Brad Rickelman, Meridian Technology Center. Harry Rosenhammer, Insuracup. And Jim Stengel. And of course, our Executive Director, Shay Lossberg. Let's give those group a hand, please. Thank you so much. I also want to recognize and thank our members, our underwriting member, RSM, investor members, Francis Tuttle, Technology Center, I2E Inc., Insuracup, McAfee and Taft, Meridian Technology Centers, Metro Technology Centers, Moore Norman Technology Center, Oklahoma State University. Also want to recognize our corporate members, Acorn Growth Companies, American Fidelity, Cameron Ventures, Hurtado Ventures, the Golding Group, Oklahoma Business Incubator Association, and the OU Office of Technology Development. I want to highlight just a few achievements that we were able to do despite COVID in 2021. COVID didn't keep us from operating, quite the opposite. OVF was able to pivot, like all good entrepreneurs do, to a digital format complete with main speakers, pitch presentations, and networking breakout. Very similar to our in-person event. The product has been so successful that we'll continue to offer the lunch programs online to allow access to the many new members who are not in the OKC Metro. The move to digital programming allowed OVF member to expand statewide. That's been a long-term goal of OVF. Several website improvements, including a really beautiful About OVF page, which you should check out. Speaker chat rooms for all online events, allowing guests one-on-one time with pitch presenters and main speakers. So good work, OVF and board. Now I would like to recognize and thank our retiring chairman, Danny Slustarczyk. Danny enjoys spending time with his family and being a productive member of the community. He serves on the Oklahoma Venture Forum, on Oklahoma Innovative Technology Alliance boards. He also serves part-time in the Oklahoma National Guard. Danny founded Standards IT in 2012 and continues to be a managing partner at the headquarters in downtown Edmond. He's been recognized as 20 under 40 and was a recent Edmonds Young Professional of the Year Award recipient. Danny has been an Oklahoma Venture Forum member since 2006. We would like to thank you, Danny, for your service to Oklahoma Venture Forum. Would you please come up? So next, I want to thank again our recognition sponsors, Insurica and OKBIA. Without the support from organizations like you, OVF would not be able to recognize the amazing talent in Oklahoma with these awards. So thank you very much again. Now I'd like to read and I'd like to vote on the list of proposed board of directors for the 2021-2022 session. You'll find them on the last 2 pages of your program. For those of you watching, this list should be visible on your screen. New member nominees: Cody Dupler, CenterPoint Energy; Alex Labodiak, True North Ventures LLC; Jennifer McGrail, Francis Tuttle Technology Center. And a late add that I'm happy to make is Diagosh, Data Job Center. Past chair nominees: Ryan Butts, Chestnut Street Advisor; Steve Davis; Cindy Friedemann, Metro Technology Centers; Al Golden, The Golden Group; Brad Rickelman, Meridian Technology Center; Barry Rosenhammer, Insurica; Jim Stengel. The continuing directors: Ryan Cargill, I2E Inc., Jim Denton, Arledge and Associates; Derek, Derek and Briggs LLP; Henry Dumas, Moore Norman Technology Center; Alice Friends, Churchill Consulting Group; Kit Letcher, BBB of Central Oklahoma; Andrew Pollock, OU Office of Technology Development; Jim Sammons, BKD CPA and Advisors; Danny Sustarczyk, Standards IT; Thomas Falk, Victory Real Estate; Aaron Webster, Cameron Ventures; Daniel Will, OSU Research Foundation. Can I get a motion to approve the incoming board? Carl, so moved. First, can I get a second? Second, Gary Rosenhammer. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. So in closing, I guess what I'd like to say is I am humbled and I am honored to function as OVF chairman for the 2021-2022 year. As Gary said, this has been an organization that's committed to the support of entrepreneurship in Oklahoma since 1987. That's a long time. With the help of the OVF board and executive director, Shay Losberg, I look forward to continuing this very important work and very meaningful work. I challenge you, if you are a founder, a funder, service provider, or really anyone interested in playing a part in moving entrepreneurship forward in the great state of Oklahoma, I encourage you to reach out to me or to anyone on this list that I mentioned and explore how you can be a part of supporting entrepreneurship in Oklahoma and helping us truly make Oklahoma top. And with that, I want to thank you again for participating, and this meeting's adjourned.